Hey everyone, Richard Logan here from Automotive Logistics and Supply Chain Global 2024. I'm joined here on the Automotive Logistics Red Sofa with Sid Philar, Senior Manager Global Logistics Procurement at Lucid Motors. Sid, great to have you here. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk about logistics procurement and partnerships. What should a win-win partnership look like in the automotive supply chain today?
I think it's what we've learned from our experience is the right kind of IT investments. You need to have the right kind of contracts in place, making sure it's a fair contract negotiation. And you got to have the right processes and guardrails in place to make sure there's ongoing communication and regular feedback, be it pricing, be it operations, and various other areas, IT integration, et cetera, is what I think makes it a win-win partnership between the two organizations.
Yeah, excellent. And what are some of the steps that you've taken during your time at Lucid to make this vision a reality?
You know, what we discussed in the past has been making sure you have the right kind of leadership engagement. We've seen it facilitates and makes a lot of things easy when it comes to be funding, making sure you have the right kind of teams being involved. You need all aspects. In fact, just for example, you need to have the operations team. You need to have the material planning team when it comes to a complex IT integration, and that is facilitated by the leadership. Right, so I think these are the kind of examples that would kind of lead to, say, standardized contracts and making sure you have them equitable. It's not about squeezing the supplier, but it's also about, it's a two-way street. You got to make sure you have the right give and take when it comes to some of the T's and C's in the contract. So that's what I view it as.
Absolutely, yeah. So developing that, developing and becoming a customer of choice is now a key focus.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, based on our experience from the pandemic, it's not a number game. It's not about just data-based relationships. It's also to do with the right kind of partnership. It's a long-term partnership. You're not going out, with a big wide web, the net to make sure. You got to have the right kind of partners to begin with, and then make sure it's a right fit. There's a lot of strategies that you need to take into account, be it the timing of the RFP, be it the right size company based on your spend and volume that you currently hold. Right? I mean, you don't want to end up. Once you get to that, you got to scale up along with a partner. That's what we've seen is working for us.
Yeah, excellent. And you mentioned there building developing strategic partnerships. For instance, how has the role of the LSP and the provider base changed, perhaps from operational to more strategic over recent years?
Yeah, so I think some of the key guardrails or checkpoints that we've kind of established is having the right kind of cadence meetings, the right kind of strategic business reviews, making sure it's not a tactical discussion, but it's all about sharing your long-term range plans, the right kind of data that you can share, right? Making sure you have the right kind of KPI monitoring, the right kind of compliance and risk management assessments. You got to have the right kind of contingency plans. You got to have the right kind of supplier risk plans. In fact, one thing that I've experienced in my past experience, without taking names, is we in fact did not have the right kind of past experience, did not have the right kind of supplier risk management tools in place that led to a huge data breach, and we were out of emails and the systems were down for weeks or even months. So I think that's something that you got to take care and make sure you have in place, so you don't run into massive issues like these.
Yeah, very interesting. And throughout this conference, we've heard about the growing role of AI, data analytics, data science. How is that influencing logistics procurement, and how are you utilizing that at Lucid?
I think it's on our IT roadmap. In fact, we take a lot of pride in being agile and nimble. And there are some processes that we're working on, but the ideal case steady state, IT roadmap We absolutely are looking at some of the predictive analysis, predictive AI tools that are basically going to, start looking at some of the geographical, let's say, unrest, or if it's a weather-related storm or hurricane. We have that visibility. We make sure we understand what that, how that's going to impact our lanes, our volume, and the shipping aspect of it, and we start taking some of the precautions. So I think that. In addition to that, we also have been focused, some of the digital tools we are also focusing on are the likes of e-sourcing. I've been a huge advocate of e-sourcing since 2009. I've been fortunate enough to have worked with some of the, I was on the freight forwarding side and had the chance to work with the likes of Estee Lauder, Dow Corning, Ansel Healthcare, and some of the big names, where we actually started using e-sourcing and digitalization of the sourcing processes. That kind of eliminated a lot of human errors and also scenario building ability is what. There are lots of e-sourcing tools out there in the market. They say they can do it, but end of the day, if you're not able, and logistics is not, every space has its own complexity, but I think logistics having, thousands of lanes and 10, 20 columns, I think who's in logistics would appreciate it in an RFP. I think you need to have these right kind of tools to help you succeed and run a very efficient sourcing process.
Yeah, excellent. Well, great to hear about the opportunities are out there.
Yeah.
The tools and tech are being developed and available in the market, so exciting space to watch here. Developing supply chain resiliency has been another part of a critical part of our discussions here and across the industry right now. That can come through trust and transparency with the provider bases, and the willingness to share data, the willingness to share and be more communicative with customer and provider relationships. Is there enough trust and transparency, and what steps are you taking to improve that?
I think it's evolving. I think, I heard one of an individual in one of the sessions talking about making sure we know what the line is in terms of confidentiality. That's always a tricky, place. But once you establish that, we've come to a point where we see a lot of benefit in terms of sharing the shipping volume, the future shipping volumes, making sure we had the shipping demand forecast that we can share. That leads to a whole lot of capacity planning and making sure we get the right kind of pricing based on what we share, right? So it's a win-win situation. That we also there's a lot in terms of the open communication, open and transparent communication that needs to happen. Just like a marriage, right? You got to have the right level of engagement in terms of what you share. But outside of that, you got to have the right kind of leadership engagement as well to make sure there's all hands on deck and commitment from both parties.
Yeah, excellent. Some great advice there, some great tips and steps on how to create a more competitive and win-win ecosystem, supply chain ecosystem. So, Philar, thank you so much. That's it from the Red Sofa for now. See you again soon.